Good morning to everybody. Many thanks to the organization committee for inviting me in this conference. It is a great pleasure to be here and to provide you with an overview of the principle and good practices to enhance children participation in decision-making regarding the health, both in healthcare and in the research setting. Children are right holders with a progressively evolving ability to make their own decision. The need to include children in making decisions about the health has been recognized in international legislation and policies, reports, health strategies, position paper of scientific society, and it became a priority for the EMA policies within the European Council of Europe Joint Project and in the Council of Europe policies. More recently, it is the main fundamental rights on which focuses the Council of Europe Guide on Children Participation in Decision-Making Process regarding the health. I'm the expert and consultant of the Council of Europe in charge of drafting this guide. In particular, the guide developed by the Council of Europe aimed at providing practical guidance to healthcare professionals working for and with children on how to improve their practices when involving children in decision-making processes affecting the health. Moreover, even if the importance of promoting the participation of children in the development of health policies and health services is acknowledged, the guide focuses on individual healthcare decision-making. The first draft will be under consultation of selected stakeholders. All processes in which children are heard should be in accordance to the United Nations Comments on Article 12 of the International Conventions on the Rights of the Child. They should be transparent and informative, voluntary, relevant to children's lives, carried out in a child-friendly and inclusive environment, and supported by training. We need to keep in mind that participation is a right, not an obligation, and children are entitled to choose whether or not to express their views or to participate in decision. The involvement of children should be seen as a progressive process according to their evolving capacities and evolving, where appropriate, 4 levels of participation: being informed, expressing a view, influencing a decision, and being the main decision maker. For example, giving consent to a treatment, intervention, or to take part in research. A safe, inclusive space should be provided to let children expressing their views. We need to ensure that children's views are communicated to someone with the responsibility to listen. Appropriate information should be provided to facilitate the expression of the children's views, and children's views should be taken seriously and acted upon where appropriate. To implement this right, good practices have been identified, such as training, educational activities, age-appropriate communication and awareness campaign, child-friendly, adequate information material. Concerning TEDDY good practices implemented in compliance with children's rights, we developed a pediatric expert patients training workshop within the European Joint Programme on Rare Disease, a multidisciplinary workshop devoted to children from 12 to 18 with rare diseases from different countries. It was developed with an age-appropriate methodology and tools, case studies, lecture, exercise, serious game, with a pluridisciplinary program committee and a YAM program committee. It was developed by TEDDY, Eurordis, and San Juan de Dieu. We also develop a serious game on the clinical trials with the aim to increase the children's awareness of different aspects related to healthcare research. It is important to underline that a computer-based program like this, designed for both entertainment and learning purposes, could help in generating learning outcomes that increase the content retention and comprehension, while reinforcing at the same time decision-making processes that is particularly important in the biomedical sector. Within the framework of European-funded project, TEDDY also developed with a participatory methodology, child-friendly material, leaflet, booklets, and videos to help children reflecting on information received orally and to identify questions and follow-up, enabling children achieving and sustaining their own health, also when participating in research. Particularly relevant for rare diseases, more recently we developed within the European Joint Programme for Rare Diseases and the Ethique project age-tailored assent form for processing and sharing personal data within the European Reference Network. It was developed always with a participatory methodology in accordance with data protection principle and children's rights relevant for data protection. This assent form devoted to children from 12 to 18 have been developed using as a starting point the consent authorization form of parents for ERNs already set up jointly by NHPDD and Ethique project. The first step was to train participants on children's rights relevant for data protection rules under GDPR, focusing also on the right to an open future. That means that children have to be protected against being engaged in certain irreversible choice. They have the right to have future options kept open until they are self-determining adult capable of deciding. We submit to them a questionnaire in order to evaluate their level of awareness about the aim of registries, children's rights relevant for data protection, and GDPR rules. And we provided them with a summary of children's rights and data protection rules for preparing the next practical exercise. For example, it appeared that they didn't know the aim of the registry and their important role for developing rare disease pediatric medicine. Further, we carried out a practical exercise with the color methodology, asking participants to underline in red what it was not clear, in green what was clear, and in pink what should be improved. Accordingly, with the results, TEDDY staffs developed assent form and we submitted it to the participants. After discussion, the shared agreed positions were included in the last version, and the same work was done in parallel also within some existing young person advisory group and TEDDY Kids in order to have a further validation. These are the most agreed conclusion. Children underlined that the pediatric assent form are to be considered as a part of a more comprehensive strategy to be adopted by registries to increase the children awareness of patients on registries activities and role with the aim to foster their participation and engagement. They ask to add child-friendly glossary explaining the main concept such as personal data, data controller, pseudonymization, and to have more comprehensive child-friendly material about overall safeguard adopted by the registries. They asked to develop interactive elements such as flowchart explaining how data are used by registries, and they underlined the need to postpone as much as possible decisions regarding commercial use until their legal majority, especially if it implies a loss of rights. And finally, they underlined the need to have a lay child-friendly summaries of the results of the study carried out by the registries. These good practices have been presented as good practices compliant with children's rights within the TEDDY hearing at the Council of Europe that took place last July. Finally, we developed for the Council of Europe a video on the rights of the child to participate in decision-making process regarding the health. It was developed for children by children, in particular TEDDY Kids, always with the participatory methodology. All the work, training of children, brainstorming session, and discussion was done with the aim to use the most appropriate language and an exciting and interesting scenario. This is also the first step of further empowering activities aimed at increasing the involvement of children, our future generation, in ethically sounded and fundamental rights compliant healthcare and research activities. Thanks a lot for your attention.